Welcome to another episode of the Obsessed with Pickleball podcast. I was not even expecting to film this week. I'm going to Costa Rica on Wednesday for my first trip this year, and I have so much to do to get ready, but how could I not film? This weekend was bananas. So if you're following along, I've been posting a lot of DUPR content, and the CEO of DUPR actually saw it and DM'd me and was like, yo, Jane, your DUPR is deflated and you actually are close to your 4-0. And I was like, I've been telling you guys this. I also don't know if there's any Ravens fans listening. I mean, I hope all of my close friends and family are listening to this, so they're also Ravens fans. But DeflateGate 2.0, am I right? If you know, Tom Brady. So because he's a genius, I was like, okay, dude, I'm all ears. And he has wonderfully, graciously agreed to be on this podcast and answer all of our DUPR questions. Now, I've been talking to people. I've been taking some questions on Instagram, and I'm going to ask him everything. Let's get into it. Here is my interview with the CEO of DUPR, Tito Machado. We're back here with CEO of DUPR, Tito Machado. He has so generously agreed to appear on the podcast and answer our pressing questions about DUPR. Now, Tito, I think everyone who has listened to this podcast knows what DUPR is, cares about DUPR. So we don't need to get too in the weeds about what DUPR is or the new algorithm. But if you can just very briefly tell us what DUPR is and how the old algorithm compares to the new algorithm.
Yeah, of course. So DUPR is a dynamic universal pickleball rating. Universal is very important, very, very important on the title. So we're a rating system, right? Which means we are the representation of level of any player in pickleball. And we have a scale from 2 to 8, and it's genderless, it's ageless, it's just purely based on all of the data that we have. We give you a number that should represent who are you today, not 3 years ago, 1 year ago, just from our recent data. Who do we think you are today on the pickleball court? And
Got
sorry,
it. So how were you?
The old algo. Sorry, yeah. So actually, the old algorithm wasn't. It wasn't actually our original algorithm. This is very important for people to understand as well. We initially at DUPR we had a spread system like we have it right now. That was the first algorithm that we had at DUPR. The only thing with that algorithm is that it was very dynamic, because we had a concept called connectivity behind. Just to simplify, everyone was connected to this network, and the rating will go up and down, looking at every piece of data from every single game from every single player. Okay, so the issue that we have with that early on is that players will move without even playing. So people used to get very upset because there will be a 4-0 today. They go to bed and tomorrow they wake up and they're at 3-9 because the algorithm received more data from other places. So back then, we decided to move the algorithm into an ELO format, which is like the chess.com kind of concept, or video games, which is winning, go up, losing, go down. A very simple algorithm. Now, that version didn't work at all. Was awful because the first winning, go up, go down. Like, to give you an example, we changed the algorithm. Anna Lee Waters was playing MLP San Clemente, and she didn't have a great weekend. So she went from being number 1 in the world at the beginning of the tournament to being number 15 in the world rated player. So we were like, whoa, we cannot go live with this. This is gonna, people are gonna go crazy. So we added point impact in that algorithm. So we had winning go up, depending on the point spread difference, right? You will go up more or less, and losing go down. And also depending on the point spread difference, it will sort itself out. Now we went to a pure spread. Okay, simplifying is we look at who's playing the game, right? What's their partners, and then the algorithm creates an expectation what the score should be. If you beat the expectation, we're learning that you're probably are better than we expected. If you don't beat the expectation, we're learning that you're probably a little weaker than we expected. So that's how the new algorithm works.
Okay, so in terms of the Annalise situation, you switched to the system that we just had
Yes.
to the fact that she walked down. That happened, and now you're switching to a more dynamic system.
To a spreadsheet. Yep,
Got
correct.
it. Because I guess what I want to ask about this Anna Lee thing is like, she isn't her losing some of those matches. Maybe something that we can lead into is partners, right? So obviously, when she's in MLP, she is playing with different partners than she does on PPA. So of course, Anna Lee is the number one player in the world, but like if that, like she should, it kind of shows what a lot of people are worried about is how important your partner is for your duper. So like if Anna Lee can play with a different partner and go down that far, like that's scary for the rest of us. So are you saying now in this situation that we have, you will be less affected by your partner's ability?
Correct, correct. That's exactly right. So what we're saying, people are completely right. There are so many factors in pickleball, and people are bringing them up, right? Like a partner. What side of the court? What is if it's a windy day? What if I trip on a ball, right? What we're saying is that with the new algorithm, now we have more data points about you. We just don't have winning or losing. Those are two very, very limited things of a game. I know they're important. Of course, they're important, but our mission is not rewarding. It's not like DUPR is not a ladder that you're supposed to climb. And that's very important. I think people think like I see this on a lot of Instagrams, right? Like road to 5-0, right? Which is great. I want people aspiring to get to a level because I'm competitive. I want the same thing. I want to be the best I can be for sure. Now, our job is to kind of like look at this body of data and give you the most accurate representation of who you are today with what we have. Yes, with the information that we have. So to your point, yeah, Anna Lee, right, in the current algo, we're looking at all of her games, all of her points, how she comparing to the other players, and it's we have enough data from her to know that she should never be the number 15th player in the world. That's not her level. That's a deflation issue from a bad weekend, right? So this algorithm is going to allow us to have a way more powerful accuracy and predictability to know where everyone should be at.
Now, speaking of deflation, the way that our whole conversation started is that you realized that my duper was very deflated, which really made my day because I have been telling people that. It was really hard for me to, I guess, buy into the algorithm when I felt like my duper was significantly lower than I thought it should be. And it wasn't coming from a place of like cockiness. It was like I'm beating these other people, so I don't understand. So I understand that deflation is real, and hopefully this is going to address that. So I think a lot of my questions now are going to be like how this all works in application versus just in the math. So one thing I kind of, when I was thinking about my duper is like, I should probably work on getting better at pickleball if I want to bring my duper up,
100%.
just as much
100%.
as I should try to
Yeah.
strategize the tournaments. But I
Yeah.
have a lot of people that's kind of not what they want to hear. Like I'll think in my head, but I won't say it out loud to any of my friends. I'm like, well, maybe like you're going down because your level's lower, but I could not say that in the past because I thought my level was too low. So I was like, is this just me? So I guess with this new algorithm, are we going to see, I think you're saying we're going to see less deflation. So here's kind of some of my questions. Right now, I feel like I struggled to bring my duper up because some of my partners that I played with were much higher dupers than me. And of course, I could play with other people, but like these are my friends, my girlfriend, like these are the people I want to play tournaments with. So if people want to get their duper up, should they be considering who they're playing with?
No. So, I mean, This is a great question, and yes, to your point, we don't all you. It was actually so great that your example came up because it was super helpful because you were one of the people that was getting punished by the old algorithm, right? And there is a big subgroup of people that were getting punished by the old algorithm. You were competing against some pretty high level players. You were actually getting some very close to wins. I checked some of your results. You were up there with some games that it was so unfair that you went down for performing so well against someone that was higher than you, right? And then you keep getting punished of playing a pretty for an overperformance for something that we believe you are doing better than your current algorithm, which you have failed before, right? Now we do have a lot of people that have the opposite issue, right? We have a lot of people that are very inflated. They're not where they're supposed to be. So it's going to be a little bit of a bumpy road now because, people are going to be very upset at me when they are a certain number and they're going to start going down because the new algo is like, actually, you are not maybe as high as you're supposed to be. And we're going to bring you down. We see that a lot. I always put this example and like the whole Pennsylvania versus people think I'm making making fun of Pennsylvania. I went to
No, I
college
want
in
to talk about
Pennsylvania.
that.
Yes, I went to college in Pennsylvania, so that's why I always say Pennsylvania. I love the state, but people are like, "Hey, I win all of my games in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, where I went to college. I win all of my games there. I'm the best in the group. I'm dominant, so my rating keeps going up. And then I go down to Florida, and I realize like, oh wow, I'm actually not a 5-0. So now I'm a 5-0 Pennsylvania, 4-5 Florida. That's not what our algorithm should reflect. Our algorithm should reflect level across every single play. So to your point, now there's the situation of people also not playing to protect the rating because they got to the rating they wanted and now they don't want to play more. We're trying to solve for those issues. We usually only have like 10 games average per DUPR user. We don't have that many games. So the only way for you to improve your rating is to play as many games as you can, give us as much data, because if you prove to us through all of that data, right, that your rating should be higher, it's just gonna go up. It's just naturally gonna go up. But there is no tricks. There is no like gamification. And actually, we're trying to gamify the system. That's not good because we're gonna have the same problem that we just had with the other one. We should be just adding data, play more, drill more, different opponents, lower, higher at your cell level. The more variety that we have, if I know how you compete with higher players, with players at your level, and with players below you, right? Those 3 points, I can get a pretty good guess or where are you on that spectrum. So I think playing as many
Okay,
games
so
with as many people.
I just want to I hear what you're saying, but I want to challenge it a little bit.
Yes.
So I'm playing with my girlfriend and her duper's a 4.5 and my duper's a 3.6. And honestly, if we were to play I feel like we would be sandbagging if we didn't play a 4-5 tournament. Right? Like we could play a 4-0 if it's like solid 4-0s, but essentially we're going to play a 4-5 tournament. She's very good. We play this tournament. We lose to some teams. We don't do well. In the past, I felt like I was being punished with my duper because it looked like she should be beating them and she wasn't. And I'm her partner, so I'm the reason. And then in the reverse, if we would win, she would go so much higher than me because it looked like she was carrying me. So obviously this is an issue with like my deflated duper. If I had a 4-0 versus a 3-6, it wouldn't look as much like she's carrying me. But is this something that the new algorithm is going to help? Because I have a lot of people who really consider playing with people based on their algorithm, based on their duper score, so that they're not going to get punished for playing with someone higher. I played with another guy who had just raised his duper score by like 2 points. And I was so excited. We got bronze. I played so well. And then I was like, wait, I went up like 0.01 because his duper was so high. So I guess, how does the algorithm address issues like that?
Yeah, so it's gonna address them way better than the old one because we have more data points, right? I think the fact that the algorithm right now is looking at your duper squared, what we call, right? How it's kind of like what is your duper, her duper, and then the average of the two dupers together, right? So I mean, I'm not, I mean, if she's a 4-5, like you're like a 4-0 team, you're like a 4-0 team, okay, more or less. So that's kind of like the way they were judging. You were looking at recency of your matches, how many games we have, all of those different things. And then we're looking at the expectation of the game and how are you performing based on the expectation of the game. So yeah, I mean, as I said, all of this is going to be a little bit of a bumpy road now because now we need to get you back to where you're supposed to be. Now the rating is going to look at the games when you play.
Start over.
No, we got no
Do I
because
need to start over?
no. Don't please don't say that because I got people are creating accounts. If I want to tell that to the community, if you create a new account and you leave the other one, we're gonna find them and
Okay.
merge them because the data looks like so. But we need to bring you back up.
Wait, you need to tell people that. People need to know that because I
Yeah.
know a lot of people with like 3 accounts. We all need
If
to
they
be
do
warned
that,
now.
we're gonna look at them. They're gonna merge, and it's not gonna help them. So, and if we know that you knew the rules, which is tough for us to know, but if you're cheating the system, we're gonna kick you out of the platform. Or we're gonna merge it first, give you we're gonna tell you, hey, like, don't do it again, and if you do it again, we're gonna kick you out of the platform. At the end of the day, this first couple of months, I said, one of the main goals is we need to bring you up, Jane, right? Because you are deflated. So we're gonna see that in your impact.
Duper's,
So
I
now
think
with
Duper's main goal now should be my rating. I think you guys should all focus on that. Like stop
for sure.
everything else you're doing. Yeah.
No, that's exactly and actually, we were we were going to go to the deflated players like yourself, and we were gonna brought everyone up to their level. And the only issue is that we weren't didn't do that. We weren't gonna do that with the inflated players because if I did that to the inflated players, again, you saw what happened this week. Imagine I would have gotten like death threats. So we didn't do that. But we cannot because listen, we cannot just pull the deflated people up and the inflated people down, which it's what if we did this perfectly, like honestly, the best way possible, that was what we should have done. Oh, yeah, thank God we didn't do it. Oh my God, thank God. So yes.
Okay. I have some questions from some other people that I've gathered, and they're all kind of the same realm of it's actually funny. Like, did you ever think that Duper would become this insane and this important to people? Like, it's insane at this point. I was literally at a tournament chatting with people socially, watching MLP, and this guy goes, "So what's your Duper?" I'm like, "We're not even playing against each other. Like, how is this relevant?" Like, could you have imagined?
No, so that's a great question. So when I worked for UTR in tennis, that's my background. So that's a tennis rating. Exactly the same thing for tennis. A little bit different demographic because it was more like junior high competition focus. So like adults didn't really care about it. It was like, like 17-year-old that wants to play for Ohio State and he needed a rating to go up to get recruited. So parents were obsessed. Parents were like unhealthy about their kids' UTR. Kids were unhealthy about their UTR. But when I did Duper, I was like, most of the pickleball population are going to be adults, right? Of course, we're adults. We're going to get this. We're going to build this community. Everyone is going to be happy. Everyone is going to accept it. I had this UP world of like everyone, this is going to be all good and all of this stuff. And they're going to care, but they're going to care because the health of it and making sure that, everyone is at the playing at the level. And, we spoke to clubs and we were to clubs like, yeah, you should gatekeep by level to make sure that everyone has a fun experience. Well, now this has turned into a like very toxic behavior, right? And people are upset if you don't allow them to play on the 4-0, right? The truth is that before Duper was around, people were getting upset with the club director first. Oh, you're telling me I'm not a 4-0? You're telling me I cannot play
Oh,
on
they're
Thursday?
still there. I'm a club director, and people are very, very upset all the time about not being able to play in the advanced group, that we've just stopped having it. We've just canceled it. We're like, make your own games. We're not going to have an advanced group anymore because it's impossible to make work. People are
It,
crazy.
it's exactly like that. And listen, this is great. One of the honestly one of the upsetting things of last week, it wasn't the fact that people were upset. I think, our company, we're smaller, I think, than people think. We're a startup. We have 40 people. We care deeply about the sport. We are going all in. Like, our head of data scientist, she is a PhD. She is, she has won the college national championship like 2 times. She's obsessed with pickleball, right? So we have this team that is honestly in the community playing, obsessed. And one of the things I was upset is, like, I saw some comments like, oh, well, DUPR just bought pickleball.com and pickleball brackets so they could have a monopoly. I'm like, I wish I could buy all of those entities to have a monopoly. I wish that was true. So there is this perception of, like, big tech in pickleball trying to ruin your life now, and all of this. And, absolutely not. I mean, we do care. And that's why it kind of like was a little hurtful, because I think a lot, like, a lot of people, again, were so emotional about it, and it makes sense, but all of this kind of exploded in a way that we weren't expecting. So a good thing about it is that people care. The other thing is, like, I feel like people don't understand it. So that's what I'm trying to do. You see me on every single comment, on every single group, on every single thing. I'm jumping on calls with absolutely everyone, Jane. Like, my phone is crazy. I gave my number to all of the pickleball community. Big mistakes. Now I'm getting screenshots of things like every hour. So, but listen, it's worth it. I just want to show people and explain it to them, for them to give us a chance. Hopefully they do. And if we're wrong, it will be my job. Don't worry. I'm the one who's gonna get fired if I'm wrong. So, we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm optimistic.
I mean, I have so many more questions that are just funny, but ultimately, like, we're so concerned about our dupers that they don't mean anything. Like, these are just rec players playing at the park. I'm part of it, so I'm not judging, but I'm like, it's so funny because you're right. Like, junior tennis players trying to get into college versus me just trying to look cool, very different. Okay, let's talk about age.
Yeah.
So I actually think this is important. So I already notice at tournaments, people like me playing 8+ versus the 35+ bracket, there being a significant difference. I'm seeing like who's winning those versus who's winning these. So I know I've saw or read or listened to another podcast where you talked about this. Now, is this going to make it? Are older people going to? I guess you're considering age more. So what does that mean for older players that are 5-0s? And then when they play younger players like that are better than them but are 4-5s, how is that going to like work itself out? And are you worried about like backlash in that? Like,
So,
should I
so
be able to be 5-0? Like, should I be like, oh, I'm a 5-0, but I'm 45 versus a 17-year-old who's a 5-0? How's that going to work out?
Yeah, so we're not going to add it into the actual DUPR rating. We're going to add sub scores. What that means is that we're going to be able to give you like a number on how you rate in your age group. Okay, but we're keeping the actual score. So the way we see this is that this is a very, very, very hot topic, right? And I wanna it's tough to explain, and I hope I'm being super logical, but you know we have a universal scale. It's our ethos. It's in our name. That's very important. We've never lied to anyone about that. We've always been dynamic, universal, pickable rating. Our goal was to create a one scale so everyone can fit on that scale and everyone can find level-based play. I think one of the big things about this is like perception. It comes back to perception. I don't want to lose my 5-0 status, right? If I'm 60 and I'm a 5-0, I just don't want to lose that. So I feel bad because because if I go down to my actual rating, I might not be, because I'm 60, I lost some speed and I lost some reflexes and I'm not playing the same. I'm not as athletic. Maybe you're not a 5-0 anymore. Maybe you're a 4-3, which is okay. It's okay to be a 4-3. I want people to be like that. It's no, like, we're trying to find level-based play. We're not looking at this as a tournament. I think tournaments do divide all of this. This is kind of like a legacy concept of tournaments. So for example, I am a 5-0. Okay, I play with 5-0s here in Boca that are 60, 65, 50. They kick my butt. So where do I rate them on the if they're actually 5-0s and we're competing against them? Where do I put them? Right? What do I say when their level is? They're actually 5-0s. So 6-year-olds that are actual 5-0s exist. Those are not rare. So this is super important. The problem is that if you are 60 and you are a 5-0, right, and you're losing against 4-5s, it's just you're simply not a 5-0, and that's fine. That means, again, you're right. That's 5 as more athletic, but all of this is we're looking at all of this data and saying where you are in this line. Now, with the old algo, it was tough. It was very tough because we had subgroups of people that were competing only with people of their age. So there was a little inflation by age group. I put this example in every single podcast. I hope she doesn't get mad at me. But the number one female senior pro, she is rated as a top 20 PPA player. Now, that's not correct. It's just not correct. It's just not right because, she's not at that level, right? But she is so dominant on the senior women's pro tour. She wins so much that's where the old algo took her. So this algo is going to address a lot of those things. And yeah, age, I will never deny that age is a factor in performance. What I'm saying is that if the age is factoring your performance, maybe you should be a little lower rated, which is okay because the rating is not supposed to be like something that makes you feel bad about yourself. It's just instead of being a 70-year-old 5-0, you're actually a 4-3 in general DUPR, and that's okay. And now we're gonna give you how you compare in your age group, so you know how you are and feel good about your age group. But it's just a level of game. And by the way, I know a lot of people say this, like, I play with people all ages. I play with people at the park with all ages. So it in this sport at least makes a lot of sense because we are playing with 60-year-olds or 50-year-olds or 40-years old. And now that's one. The other big thing is like when we start breaking down our rating by a lot of subcategories, right? Let's say I go, how do I compare to indoor versus outdoor? Another rating. Now, where do I draw the lines? So it's like plus 30, plus 35, plus. I don't feel as athletic at 32 that I was when I was 20. So should I have another category for me where, I don't feel like, I'm sure, people under 40s don't feel the same as I do now being 32. Do I draw another line there? So now we have like 10 different ratings for 10 different things. It gets very icky, and I get it, and I get the frustration. I think it's the way we think about our rating, like you said before, more the problem. Like, I don't want to go down. I'm a 5-0 and that's it. Like, don't drop me. More than if you think about logically, it's all about everyone is playing level-based play.
I mean, I think a lot of what we're talking about comes down to like, it's not supposed to be nice. Like, it's supposed to be accurate, right? Like,
Exactly.
it's going to hurt egos. Okay, so I'm going to get back to that. So kind of what you're talking about, which I do agree with a lot of people on this. A lot of women, a lot of my female friends want to talk about having a mixed DUPR versus a gender DUPR. And the reason that is because as the woman in a mixed match, it is hard for us to have as much impact as the guy. Like if you're the best girl, let's say you're the best girl at the tournament. I've seen this a million times, and your male partner is weaker than you. There's only so much you can do. Like the other guy is going to blow you up. You're going to stay in the points, blah, blah, blah. If you don't have a strong guy, you're not going to win. And I think it's a deterrent for women to play mixed in tournaments. Are we looking at having a versus a mixed DUPR?
Yeah. Actually, that is an extremely fair point. Actually, mixed is the toughest for us, 100%, because of the difference in how the game is played. the coverage of the court is different, so yes, we are actually, that's something that is in line. We're looking exactly how to present that. We want to, again, all data is good for us. Of course, we're also looking at your partners DUPR, but that makes it a whole different sport. So that's definitely the toughest. I'm not going to deny that. It's very difficult for us because, again, the way the game is played, it's way different. And hey, there are some people who are specialists in mixed. They're actually way better on mixed doubles and you see it in the pro as well, right? You have some players who are really good on the mixed side in the pro side. And so, yes,
There's
that's
a lot
something
of
that
fails. There's
yeah, go
I
ahead.
think there's a handful of men who are bad at mixed. Not bad at mixed. That's wrong. Nobody said, no, I said that. Who are weaker at mixed than they are at men's doubles. And that's just an observation. Like, that's definitely true.
Listen, 100%. We agree with that. I think mixed double is something that we are definitely very seriously considering to add into the rating. And this is important, right? This wasn't the end all do all DUPR update. We're not done. We're not finished. Like, we're actually a 3-year-old company, very young, in a very young sport that is just growing. Like, this is the beginning of this journey. There's a lot of things that we're gonna address. But this is 2.1. We're gonna have 2. Hopefully 9, 3.0, 3.1. So we're gonna add all of these different things, and we're learning. This was more a kind of like restructure to now be able to build from the structure all of the things that we're talking about. We couldn't build all of these things from the old algo because from the old algo, it was all winning and losing. So it really didn't matter if you were playing mixed. If you think about it, on the old algo, it really didn't mean anything because it was winning and losing. So you could be playing mixed or anything. The data points were the same. You won, you go up, you lose, you go down. So this one allows us to now look at mix, look at age groups, look at all of these different things, and honestly run some really good models.
So we've seen lots of reactions on social media to the algorithm, from myself included. And recently, Nico the Lefty posted a reel about how he had to just blow out these poor people who were playing in the 5-0 tournament. And two things can be true at once when it comes to this issue. One, those people should not be playing in a 5-0 tournament. That's crazy. I just was at an event where there was like a challenge court, and people would come on the challenge court that had just started playing pickleball. I'm like, we're not going to be nice to you because this is the challenge court. Get off. So you're playing a tournament with people who aren't 5-0s. They signed up for that. That's their choice. You should be able to not feel bad when you pickle them. Number one, that's how I feel. Again, this is a sport. This isn't. Pickleball is in that in between. I've noticed financially, like as running a business, we're still seeing people not really wanting to spend money on pickleball because we're still coming from like the park world, the community world. When I started playing pickleball, it was like we're all best friends. We're all playing together, and we moved into a competitive space. So if you want to play a 5-0 tournament, that's on you. But I will say this when it comes to strategy of what tournaments to choose. There is an issue when you're playing a tournament and you're playing against a worse player that you're going to play down to their level. Or your human nature is going to be like not to be insane and just like kill them. So in that sense, it does seem to me like the strategy would always be to play up in a tournament because it's better to lose to a higher level player and play your best than it is to play down and potentially play down on your level and give up too many points to this player. So I don't know if I'm just right or if you have like any comments about that.
No, listen, I actually, I actually gave Nico a call after you saw your post. I gave Nico a call. I spoke to him, and it was satire. Like he was just like listen, like I just played 2-5-0, and I just went in, and it obviously is a hot topic right now. So everyone is actually I found a really good meme on Reddit. I shared it yesterday. I thought people were gonna kill me for sharing it, but I don't know if you saw it, but it was pretty funny. But no, listen, I think one of the issues again is the way that we're looking at our rating. It's like, what strategy can I use to gamify the system? Right. This is what all of us are thinking right now, right? Like, and again, that is not the intention of the rating. That's not the goal. The goal is to collect as much data as we can to be able to rate you, and so then you can find the right tournament. So I cannot recommend any strategy here, Jane, because that's not the absolute goal. You should be playing tournaments to do to perform as good as you can, to give us as many games as you can, so understand your level. Again, we're not a reward system. We're not a ranking. You're not supposed to go up the ladder. That's not our job. Our job is to tell you with the data that we have who you are. So listen, the only way to actually be better in pickleball is to play better at pickleball. Like if you want to gamify the system and go at the system to for some ego thing and say that you're a 5-0 when you actually know that you're not a 5-0, you're looking at things the wrong way. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, listen, I get it, but
That's good. That makes sense. So I guess this brings us to like the final thing I want to talk about. Dayne Gringrich has been very critical of you
yeah,
and of this new thing, saying essentially all of his rhetoric has come down to you're not listening to your customers. People are unhappy. It's crazy to not reward wins, all of this stuff. And I know that he doesn't want to talk to anyone, but I guess what I am getting from this is like, oh, and he says things like, oh, the scientist versus the people. But like, aren't the experts are supposed to know more than us? Like they've taken emotion out of it and are working on this algorithm. Where if we're listening to the the consumers, we have a bias to want to reward ourselves, right? So I guess, is there any other like that's how I feel about what he's saying. I'm like, it's not we're gonna always have an emotional reason to judge the algorithm.
yeah,
If it
yeah.
benefits us
Yeah.
in any situation, if something's harming you, you're not gonna like it. But for me, you're telling me that I'm deflated. I'm like, I love this new algorithm. This is the greatest
I
algorithm that
love
ever
Tito. Tito
happened.
is
This is
great.
like genius.
Best guy is awesome. Yeah.
Best thing ever. So I guess that's my reaction to what he's saying is it's like it's not up to us to say if something's good or bad, how it affects us. And I guess I just wanted to give you the space. Like, is there anything else that you want to react to, like his comments or that general message of like you're not listening to what everyone's saying, and they
Yeah.
should have like the customer should have say.
Yeah, listen. I think I learned. I had a really like advanced course on how the internet works this last couple of days. And how the algorithm works and shows the tough comments. I mean, the reality is, honestly, Jane, we were the whole executive team going one message at a time, one message at a time. Like I read every single comment, I responded to every single comment, I looked at everyone's issues, we went through every single game. And the truth is, I think that Dayne is a coach, right? He's an influencer. I think he was voicing concerns, and that's fair. If people are concerned and he's voicing those concerns, I mean, hey, fair game. I would have loved to have that conversation with him, because he's kind of like championed a little bit the negative aspect of this through him and channel. The goal was never to get him on a trap or to anything. It was to have exactly the same conversation that you and I are having. And then if we have this conversation and I explain the ways that we're thinking about things and the way that we're analyzing things, I was hoping for an aha moment, and kind of like, hey, like maybe it's logical, maybe it's good, as I said before, the upsetting part of the whole thing was like the scientists versus the players. Well, as I said, our head of data science, Sarah Carpenter, PhD, she is an addict of pickleball, a lover of pickleball. This is hard for her as well, because she's putting so much work, running so many models, obsessive, like making sure it was the right place and putting something out there to her community that she cares so much and wants to make an impact. And then all of this, honestly, kind of like, fake concepts are going out and ideas and stuff like that are not really true. Like, for example, some of the examples that were being shown, they were 15% of the truth. They weren't true. You are like, oh, someone just shared this with me. Someone went down 0.433 on one tournament. well, that person had a one reliability, you know. So like you shared the whole 0.43 and you create this sense of like, oh my God, what's going to happen to my DUPR? Like, this is how much things are swinging. Like, I won my tournament this weekend and I went down. Yeah, you went down 0.01, which is nominal. It's literally you went down to the 1,000th place of a tournament. If I took down that third decimal, people wouldn't even realize that they went. I could do that tomorrow. I told my team, what if we just take the third decimal, which doesn't mean anything in any other situation. If I were talking about the third decimal in any other number that you have, you'll be like, third decimal, like to the 1,000th place. Like, I don't care. So yeah, listen, all I'm gonna say is that, people were concerned, people felt it. I would love to have the opportunity to get on a meeting with him. I think that a lot of people, if they give us a chance to explain this, and I think to learn who we are, who are the team, I think they might give us a chance. And I think in 6 months they're gonna be like, oh wow, this is much better. Maybe not the inflated players, but this is gonna get way better over time. It's just like a snowball. And hey, as I said, we're young. We're 3 years. We're a startup, 40 people startup, like care about this. All of us pickleball players with obviously other kind of like experiences on the business side, on the data side, on the product side. But it's not this perception of DUPR is just trying to ruin my life. So I hope people give us a chance.
I'm definitely going to give it a chance because I feel a new sense of inspiration to continue to play. How long is it going to take my reliability to go down? Like, I think you should increase. I think our reliability should go down much faster. Like
I
every
agree.
2 weeks we go.
I agree. No, this is another thing that people have been asking for on the comments, that we should add decay into the system. So meaning that, matches that happen after 1 year, they kind of drop from your rating. Again, I agree. I mean, if I were going to go mathematically the best way possible, the most accurate version of this, this is what I would do tomorrow. I would add decay. So matches drop from the back right away. Honestly, I would include reliability inside of the rating, and it wouldn't be a separate score. It would be literally a thing that lives inside of the rating. So now matches 1 year drop, so your rating drops, so you need to play, so you cannot protect your rating. And the other thing, I will add connectivity back, which will make it more dynamic, but it's just more accurate because you're not only looking at your matches, we're also looking at how your opponents are performing with. Like, for example, if you play with someone today, right, that they came from racket sports, they came from tennis or something, right? You play against them and you beat them, right? You beat them. But, the rating was low because they're new to the sport. But in 2 months, because they're tennis players, right, they just go up. That win might get a different value. We will learn more from that player and we'll be like, oh, wow, like that win was actually better than we thought it was. This player is going up. So maybe Jane should get more, more credit for this win. This was actually a better win than we thought it was. So go up. So that will create this network effect and connectivity that everyone will reach. Now, again, it's tough. We need the buy-in from the population. We need people to be okay, to fluctuate a little bit, to move a little bit naturally. That will be the most accurate version. Actually, the predictability power at that level, it's wild. So, yeah.
You would just need, the thing is that, okay, let's say I played someone a month ago and they were 3-5, but they were just getting started. They got a lot better. And then 2 months later, they're 4-2. I should get more credit because they played more tournaments and their accurate is more reliable. But at the same time, let's say that it's an incentive for me also to keep playing more tournaments, because let's say I'm also getting better. If I'm getting better and I'm winning more, I'm not going to go down.
Better.
So like,
or performing better. Yes. Yeah.
I'm performing better too, so I won't go down. So like, let's say I lose to someone and I go down and then they get better and the algorithm's going to move me down, but I'm also getting better. So it incentivizes me to keep playing, because if I stay the same, I could go down. But if I keep playing tournaments and I keep getting better, that actually protects my DUPR from getting affected by other people's DUPRs.
Correct. Correct. So
Okay.
you hit on the nail. You hit on the nail. I think the um, that's exactly the way that this should be working. We should be adding as many games as possible, adding as many matches as possible, because the reality is that we don't do magic. I don't see you play. I'm not watching you play on the courts. I don't have cameras. And maybe in the future, some clubs do have, which we're doing those integrations with the AI, so we're going to be able to look at your games and all of these different things. And I'm sure, but on the day-to-day, I don't see you, so I can only judge you on the information I have and the information I have from your opponents. That's very important for people to think, because I also think a lot of people think of ratings are like the old concept, where you went and a pro will tell you you are a 4-5 and you got the number, and now so they were almost like a martial arts belt. Once you are a brown belt, no one is taking that brown belt from you, right? And that's where you are, and that's not the case in pickleball, right? It's so if you feed us data, I can tell you who you are. If I haven't seen you, I made this example the other day. Actually, people were were loving this. This is like if I went to the doctor 5 years ago, right? They did all of kind of blood tests, all of kind of tests on me, and they told me I was super healthy, right? And now you ask me, Tito, are you healthy? And I'm like, yeah, I'm super healthy. Everything is perfect. All of my markers are great. Everything is looking great, because the doctor told me 5 years ago. I don't know if I'm healthy now. I haven't gone to the doctor in 5 years. I cannot be judged by the scores and results of 5 years ago. I need to be judged for the most recent results that I have. So that's kind of the way I'm seeing with DUPR, is like, feed us data, recency, play games. Don't be afraid. This is not supposed to be, again, there is nothing wrong with being a 3-0. Literally, there is nothing wrong. Actually, it is a journey. Play, have fun, enjoy it. Like, none of us are professional. There are very few professionals out there. This is supposed to be fun. So go and play level-based play, and the more you play, naturally, things go up.
Yeah, I'm kind of now feeling very empowered. I feel like it's really in our hands, and it feels a little bit more like merit based, and I like the idea that you have to keep proving yourself. Like, you don't just get to stay a 5-0. Like, you have to keep being a 5-0. And that's scary, but I do think it's kind of like, I do think it's empowering. Like, I feel better if I know that other people are in the same, like, I'm battling to get my DUPR up. But these people with high DUPRs are just chilling on their DUPRs. They don't have to keep proving themselves. So
Correct.
it's scary for DUPRs, but it's like, you can no longer just be like, I'm too afraid to play because if I go under a 4-0, that's so scary. Like, you have to keep playing in tournaments and keep proving that you're a 4-0. And maybe that does mean, I know you're saying not game the system. Maybe in the future, I'll believe that we can't game the system. But I do think you need to play at your level up. I don't think you should play down. I think you'll play worse. I think you need to play up and challenge yourself against better players. You're less likely to go down. You're going to have a hard time convincing me that I shouldn't play up to protect my DUPR.
So
But
let me ask you something only to that case, okay? So you're a 4-0, okay, which you're gonna be very soon. So you're a 4-0, okay, and you can play with a against a 4-5, okay, or against a 3-5, okay. I give you these two options. If you beat the 3-5 and below the expectation of 11-5, 11-5, right, you have to beat them 11-4, 11-4. You go up, or you need to make 5 more points against the 4-5. Honestly, I think your odds are probably higher on beating the 3-5, 11-4, 11-4. If you push a little harder on certain points, playing that lower level game, it's gonna help you. It's gonna prove to us that you're a little better. So I know everyone is thinking that way. Let me play up so I can just scrape some points from these people. Why don't you scrape some points from the other side as well? That's why I mean, like it's about playing all of these levels. You get to meet the expectation. Now you get to improve your rating in every game. You just need to beat the expectation. So I think people are just thinking, well, like this one right here up now, it's not like that. Honestly, think about it.
that makes a lot of sense. And I just think, like, yeah, no mercy. Like,
Exactly.
sorry.
And if you had mercy,
But the 4-5 doesn't have mercy.
exactly. And if you
Yeah,
have
if you have
mercy,
mercy,
Why did people lose on the old algo? If you cared so much about the mercy, right, on the old algorithm, I would have been like, you know what, I feel bad for I feel you will be like, I feel bad for Tito today, so I'm gonna lose to make sure that Tito goes up, because no one was doing that on the old algo. No one was like giving free matches for mercy. So
Yeah.
now that we're counting for points, now it's I just want to give them some points and make sure that they're happy after the game. I don't see that in tournaments. I haven't seen any mercy points in my life, to be honest with you. Yeah, you might be a little more distracted, thinking about, oh, I need to go on to the supermarket later, but or sometimes people start thinking about what's going to happen after they win that game. I don't know if that ever happened to you. You're like, oh, if I win this round, I'm going to go to the next round, and I'm going to play this person, and I'm going to play this person. That happens, but no one is really showing mercy. Like you're not losing points on purpose. So it's a tough one.
No, I get it. Like, this is pickleball. We're not being nice to each other. It's time to get serious. Okay, this was so interesting. I feel like I understand so much more, and I'm actually like really excited to log some more matches and see what happens. Like, I'm just curious. Like, it could listen, I could play badly in all the matches because I don't think DUPR considers anxiety. I don't think like I'm going to get extra points if I can report to you that I have, tournament anxiety. I don't think I get like any extra points. But I'm excited to try to play more tournaments and see if I can get a little bit more accurate rating. So I'm pumped.
I think
And
I think
thank you
your
for talking
case, I
to me.
think you're gonna see an improvement. No, thank you, and I want to say the community and your listeners, like, reach out to me as well if you have questions. Like, I'm happy to chat. Again, people keep telling me that I have to stop doing this. My team is like, you have to stop doing that. You have to stop giving your phone number. But again, I get it. Like, I get your doubts. I get your concerns. I'm here to help. So please, let's talk. Let's talk. And if after the call with me, you still feel like this is non-logical, you know, you can post it, everyone, blast me, tell everyone like I'm a dummy. I don't care. Like, but I think like most people, when they spend some time to understand what's going on, I think they're gonna be like, this makes sense. And now we need directors like you and everyone else. And you made a great post about the cult, DUPR cult, and I agree. I think we need to change the culture. We need to change this whole like, you know, thing about like if you're a 4-0, you're able to, we need to change things, make it more reasonable, and explain the reasoning behind DUPR a little better. So that's on us.
Well,
Awesome.
thank you so much. I will definitely harass you if my DUPR goes down. Just kidding. And yeah, I'm excited to see what comes next. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much,
Have
Dayne.
an awesome day.
You too.
Okay, bye.